For those about to rock, we've waited 6.5 months for this moment. It's 30 laps of the wildest wingless racing you'll see anywhere. Let's kick off the 2026 season in fine style as we come down to the Windshield World Start Zone. Holden Ekman and Christian Bruno on the front row, and the spring fling at the Clyde Martin Memorial Speedway is green. Bruno from the outside pole has the lead out of corner number 2. Rogers trying to stick it in there outside of Ekman. That's a battle for second now as Ekman drops back. Rogers into the runner-up spot. Bruno to lead lap 1 in the 75 car. Rogers and Beinhauer the top 3. Here comes James Roselli battling inside Holden Ekman. He'll throw a slider on the 11H car for the 4th spot. Ekman back down the hill. Matt Donnelly, Kyle Lick close in tow behind him. But the top 3 runners have pulled away. Bruno, Rogers, and Beinhauer. And now the chase begins, and now the caution flies. We'll restack him and re-rack him. There's debris in turn number 4. Debris in turn 4 puts us under the yellow flag. 2 laps completed. Christian Bruno was not supposed to race that 75 car today for Mark Yoder, with Chris Snyder turning the wrenches, but when the regular Snyder Racing Enterprises number 5 car had some injection issues in the open practice earlier today, Chris ran the trailer back, grabbed the Mark Yoder owned machine, and got it here in time to race. What a story it could be for him as he tries to look for back-to-back spring fling wins. He last won this race in 2024, last time we ran it. James Hendricks pulled in right after the start, and so did Cole Perez. So both those drivers look like they're out of the race. Unfortunate for them. Chase Rogers, he is always fast, and he always puts on a show when he races here at the Clyde and races in Pennsylvania. It's a regular from up in the New England area. Champion of the Granite State Micro Sprints a couple times, and he has been knocking on the door of some feature wins here at the Clyde as they double up for the restart. Christian Bruno's going to take the outside. The outside. We don't see that very often, but Christian likes what he felt up there. The leader does have the prerogative. It does have lane choice, and Christian says, I want the top. So don't get it twisted. Bruno is the leader. He's on the outside. Rogers on the inside. Beinhauer and Ekman row 2. Roselli and Donnelly, Lick and Schmidt. And then it's Purdue and Spence the top 10. Back to start lap number 3. Here we go. And Bruno takes off. Rogers slides up to the top side in front of Holden Ekman. Holds on to second for now. Beinhauer around the bottom groove. Still in that final spot in the podium. He's creeping around that low side. Ekman, though, blows his doors off coming out of turn number 4 and reclaims the 3rd spot. Everybody has moved to the upper groove, and right now it looks like that's going to be the predominant line. If you're going to want to be fast, and if you're going to want to contend for the win of this spring fling, one car slow at the top of turns 3 and 4, and I don't think going to get out of the way. That is the Luke Hess machine, and that brings out the caution. He is stopped right in front of the entrance gate in turn number 4. Luke Hess in the 2L, who was running about mid-pack, around 15th or so at the last completed lap. Looks like he will have his spring fling come to an early end. Tough break for Luke. He was fast early on tonight. Led a lot of laps of his heat race. Put the hook to Luke Hess's car, and we'll tow him into the infield, as it sounded like he may have locked it up there with something amiss on his machine. Came to a stop, could not get out of harm's way, and safely get to the infield. Once again, Bruno has taken the outside line. Outside for Christian Bruno. Remember, he went 8-1 in his heat race. And with the weighted redraw, wasn't going to be able to start any worse than 6, but ended up pulling pill number 2. putting him on the outside of the front row, where, as it turned out, is kind of where he's wanted to be all along. So how does Rogers attack here in the 5 car? We'll see. Can he maybe minimize the damage of having to run that bottom groove through the first set of turns? Keep himself close to Bruno and then try to track him down. He looked, at least in that short little spurt we had to start the race, like he was maybe just as fast as Bruno, but Bruno, that last run, at least for the couple of laps that it ran green, started to leg out the gap. See what happens this time. Through the windshield, World Start Zone. Rogers slides right to the top right away. May have set it a little too high, because here comes Beinhauer and here comes Roselli. And Rogers is going to be in a slider battle. Beinhauer had nowhere to go. Here's Donnelly on the inside now. Creeping the low groove. Matt Donnelly on the inside in that neon yellow number 15D. Rogers shoots back through the middle, back to second. Roselli now to third from the upper groove. Beinhauer, Donnelly, and here comes Kyle Spence. And we've got a pile up on the back straightaway. Chain reaction, couple cars that are tangled together. Jasper Zigafus and Jace Marshall got their bumpers locked, running about 12th or 13th and stacked up quite a few cars behind them. Everyone gets away without any further incident, but that could have been a lot bigger than it was. That was a big time restart, though. Chase Rogers basically ran the slider line there through turns 3 and 4 on the restart and just couldn't get any drive off the exit of turn number 4. That allowed Mason Beinhauer to blow by him, and then they got into a big-time slider battle. Rogers eventually reclaiming that runner-up spot, but lost a lot of time to Bruno in the process of doing so. Honestly, if you're Chase right now, you're probably just hoping you can get to a spot where maybe we get a few more cautions and then we go single file the rest of the way, and you're hoping you can keep the runner-up spot till then. And a reminder that we have double file restarts here at the Clyde until we get to either more than 5 cautions or under 5 laps to go, whichever comes first. Of course, this is caution number 3. But I'll tell you, Rogers is likely going to have a fight here on his hands in the form of James Roselli. We've talked about the success that Roselli has had and how strong and fast he's been since linking up with Jim Radney and Mike Austin and Hyper Racing on the micro side of things a couple years ago. He picked up a win here last year, his first win at the Clyde. He's won some races traveling as well with the Hyper Racing camp. Remember, he was upside down earlier, flipped in his heat race. They got the car back out before any laps were completed, and he drove up into a transfer spot. Actually, up into a redraw spot, for that matter. And has put himself well in position now to challenge Bruno and Rogers for the win of this race. But don't count out that blue and black with the white roll cage, number 89, that is just slowly but surely making his way through the field in methodical fashion. That is Kyle Spence. Started 14th, up to 6th. And if we operate under the school of thought that the outside line is the line you want to be on in these restarts, he's in a good position to try and pick off a few more spots here and get closer toward the front to where maybe he can challenge for the win of this race. 6 laps complete, back to green. Time Rogers gets up in front of Beinhauer. We'll see if Beinhauer can slide him. No, he can't. Here comes Kyle Spence now, right on the tail tag of Beinhauer, entering corner number 3. Spinner. Matt Donnelly goes around in corner number 4. That's a tough break for Donnelly. I think the caution was going to come out anyway, because Jace Marshall, you see that 2J car right kind of in the infield, but not like really out of harm's way. It looked like the caution was going to get called initially for him, and unfortunately for Donnelly, he just spun right as that was happening. And since he spun and came to a complete stop, he does not get that position back. So The night is over for Jace Marshall, unfortunately. You see the front end damage on his car, but for Matt Donnelly, a run that saw him up inside the top 5 has now come undone, and he'll restart at the back of the line. It is single file now, and this is caution 4, so we'll have at maximum one more double file restart in this race. And then we would go single the rest of the way. Bruno, Rogers, Roselli, Beinhauer, and Spence. How does the game change on a single file restart here? Let's find out together. Look at that, everybody snakes to the top except Kyle Lick. He's the first car to duck out on the bottom in the 6th spot. We'll try to slide Spence for spot number 5 and does so, but just can't get the traction on corner exit. Spence back by him for the last spot in the top 5. Here comes Aiden Perdue and Dominic Schmidt flying in. Burner back. Schmidt will slide his car up the back to clear Perdue. That'll fight for the 7th position. Perdue back to the inside. Shallow slider. That should get him the spot for good. Beinhauer was trying to get Roselli in 3 and 4. Couldn't do so. Now here's a big bomb from Kyle Spence on Mason Beinhauer. Oh, Beinhauer breaking down the back straightaway. Off the pace is a 21B car. He'll roll around the bottom. We'll see if he gets out of harm's way or if that's going to be a caution. He does get to the infield. We stay green. At the front, here's Jace Rogers for the lead on Christian Bruno. He had stuck with that 75 car since the restart, and that was his first move for the top spot. Bruno with an answer. Rogers, though, another big run down to corner number 3. Bruno crosses once again. It is going to be hard to stick sliders on this Clyde Martin Memorial Speedway surface, but I'll tell you what, Jace Rogers right now is the faster race car. He threw it shallow that time. Bruno still able to get back ahead. Look at how Jace Rogers gets through 1 and 2, though. I mean, he is absolutely gobbling up the gap. As we'll throw another bomb down to turns 3 and 4. That might have been his best one yet, but Bruno's got another answer. Rogers down to the corner, can't get to the top. Lost some time. Now out to reel him in for about 3 car lengths back. But he looks quick enough to do so right now, and the leaders are catching lap traffic. Bruno, Rogers, Roselli, the top 3. Spence has broken away with 4th. Roselli's not out of this thing either. He was the fastest car on the racetrack that last time around. Halfway home. Look at Rogers right up against that guardrail. Caution flag is out. Something on the back straightaway. I believe debris is the cause for the yellow. It is just... It is wild watching Jace Rogers run the top of 1 and 2 right now. He is just absolutely throwing him over his shoulder and just pounding the curb and the guardrail through that set of corners, and it's paying off right now. He is definitely faster than Christian Bruno. I think James Roselli might be faster than both of them, though. So how is this going to pan out as we get into the race the second half? You see the debris on the back straightaway was a wheel cover. Christian Bruno has had to drive defensive throughout most of this race so far. Here's an opportunity, though. This is going to be the final double file restart of this race. He's got Rogers pinned on the low groove as he takes the top once again. Is that going to give him an opportunity to pull out to an advantage here? If Rogers and Roselli and Spence all get to slicing and dicing and battling, kind of like what happened with some of those earlier restarts, that could give Bruno a cushion. And we'll see if it's enough to allow him to hold on to win this race. We're right at halfway, 15 down, 15 to go. It is Bruno and Rogers, Roselli and Spence, Lick and Perdue, then Warner and Schmidt, and Cole Gerber, Holden Ekman are the top 10. Oh, problem for Kyle Lick. Kyle Lick is pulled come to the 5. Night done for Kyle. Tough break. Aiden Perdue and Matt Warner now will share row 3 together. Spence around the outside, clears Rogers. Rogers for second. That could be a big move. Rogers, though, pounds the wall out of turn number 2. He is letting it all hang out up against the guardrail. But Bruno and Spence now, two drivers who know their way to Clyde Martin Memorial Speedway victory lane, are driving away. Bruno's got about as big of a lead as he's had, about 5 car lengths on the Kyle Spence machine. He has dialed something in. Roselli, there's a big bomb on Rogers. Rogers clears him on the exit at 2. Roselli says, all right, I'll try it again. And Rogers is ready. He'll turn it back down the hill and hold on to the 3rd position. Look at Matt Warner battling hard with Roselli. He has put himself in the fight from the 15th starting spot. He and Aiden Perdue now crossing up for the 5th spot. But keeping an eye on the gap at the front, Christian Bruno running about as fast as he's run all race right now since the restart. That 75 car has come to life with 10 to go, but Kyle Spence is a quarter of a second quicker that last lap. He's got to make up about 2/3 of a second right now. 2 of the best in micro sprints, Christian Bruno and Kyle Spence. Look like they're going to settle this thing with 9 laps to go. And if we stay green, the leaders will likely catch lap traffic before that point. Caution, turn 4. Another wheel cover. Another wheel cover is the cause for the yellow, as there's debris and a wheel cover that is, can't see exactly where it's at, but it's in corner number 4. It's actually right in the middle of the corner. You can see it there, right at the center of the turn, right kind of adjacent to the caution light. And I know it's easy to ask, well, it's just a wheel cover, why go yellow for it? But it's a piece of sharp metal debris that could easily cut a tire, or if it gets flung up, kicked up by another race car, it could very easily go over the catch fencing and create a bad situation there. So obviously got to get that debris cleared and taken care of when it's seen and when it's in a potentially harmful situation. So we go yellow for that, and now, as I've said, we are single file the rest of the way with 8 laps to go. Christian Bruno and Kyle Spence were kind of matching each other there before the caution. Spence had a lap where he made up a pretty big chunk, but then he and Bruno both were kind of running the 11-8 bracket there for the couple laps before the yellow. What's it going to take to unseat the Deptford, New Jersey driver Christian Bruno and deny him a chance at going back to victory lane? Kyle Spence and the rest of the field going to try to find out. 8 laps to race for it. First slider is Perdue on Roselli, and Roselli just got back around the top. Roselli got a big run, and he'll try to go to work on Rogers now. Big time slider from the 95B car. Rogers able to get back inside. Oh, Perdue tried to take them both, and there was contact. That checked up Rogers. Roselli gets through. Now Rogers and Roselli zigzagging, crisscrossing up and down the banking. Roselli clears the 5 car and has 3rd. In the meantime, here's the battle at the front. A car length and a half separate Bruno and Spence. Coming to 5 to go. Kyle Spence just a little bit quicker that last time. Bruno cheated the entry. Spence is going to have an opportunity. Down to the turn 3. Here's the slider for the lead. Bruno back to the inside with 4 to go. But Bruno keeps cheating that entry to 1, and Spence is gobbling up the time. One more time, down to turn number 3. Here comes the 89 car for the race lead. Bruno clears, but not as easily. Spence a big slider through 1 and 2. Bruno back to the top and holds on. Spence will still have time and another run, though, with 2 laps remaining. Lap traffic shouldn't be a factor. Matt Donnelly, the only car up ahead. Spence couldn't get inside Bruno there, out of 2. And the caution is out in turn number 2 before the leaders get to the white flag. Cole Gerber. Cole Gerber has a broken front end on the 14 car. He had been up inside the top 10. No longer. Cole Gerber's going to take his car off the racetrack. Tough break for Cole. Well, I'll tell you what, that was some good stuff right before the caution. We're going to have a green-white checkered to settle the spring fling. Christian Bruno and Kyle Spence maybe getting ready to go to war here. Chase Rogers, James Roselli, Matt Warner still in striking distance. This restart going to be crucial. If Bruno can get a little bit of breathing room, he's going to make life a lot more difficult for the 89 car. But we have seen how aggressive Spence and even Rogers before that were on the entry to turn number 1. Bruno's been giving up some time there, and that's given the drivers behind him a chance to maybe swipe this one away. 2 laps to settle it. Here we come for the spring fling. Green, white, checkered. Bruno and Spence, 1 and 2. Good restart from Christian Bruno, and he made some time through 1 and 2. About as aggressively as he's run that corner over the past 5 or so laps. He's got 2 car lengths between himself and Spence in the white flag. And I don't think Kyle's going to get there. Christian Bruno digs deep on the green-white checker and holds on to win the spring fling in the Hyper Racing Wingless 600s. Bruno the winner, Spence in second, and Rogers in front of Roselli to complete the podium.
He goes back to back in the spring fling, and he's your first winner at the Clyde in 2026, Christian Bruno at the Hyper Racing Wingless 600s. What a show. In a backup car, no less. This was not a car that was supposed to be raced until about 6 hours ago or so today. But he takes the Mark Yoder entry with Chris Snyder, the crew chief. And I guess all things considered, 2026 is off to a pretty good start. What a race. What a day. Having to hop in this thing last second. You go 8-1 in your heat race, and then that was honestly, it reminded me a lot of the Labor Day shootout last year. I mean, it was slicked up, and, 1 and 2 was really the story of the race. And it taught me through, if you were watching the same race I was, because before that last restart, it seemed like you were kind of cheating the entry into 1 a little bit. That's where Kyle and that's where Chase were making the advantage. When that caution came and the green-white checker that followed, were you just kind of like, I got to put it up against the wall and hope I don't mess it up?
Yeah, to be honest, man, it's so rough. Like, the ruts were just knocking the wheel out of my hand there, and I was holding the wheel so tight, I was getting so tired on them green flag runs, so I kind of had to bite the bullet there and try to set my own pace and try to, get some energy back. And, I mean, if I could run it wide open like I did the last 2 laps, we were really good, but I was getting tired. I don't know if it's because it's the beginning of the season or the track is so rough, but no, we kind of had a rough day in practice earlier. But, I just want to thank Mark Yoder for letting us take this car out after having some issues with our main car. And I don't think he really knows that we're running his car, but we'll send him a photo in victory lane, and I'm sure he'll be all right with it. But, yeah, glad to bring it home one piece. It's always good to do that the first race of the year. We're always really good here. Chris Snyder, he's seen a lot of laps here. So to get the win is good. $1,000 we'll take it, and just keep on going throughout the year. Hopefully the rain stays away and we have a bunch of good races.
Yeah, you had to be up there, obviously, but what kind of was the mindset once you had that caution with 2 to go to kind of reset, because you knew Kyle was going to be coming after you? And, I mean, I guess in hindsight, how badly did you need that caution?
Yeah, I need it pretty bad. I'm ashamed to say it, but I guess I'm out of shape or something. But, I was able to kind of, relax my arms and just give my all the last 2 laps. I don't know how much we got ahead, but I was, thanking God that I didn't get a slider in the 3 from Kyle. So, Yeah, great race. I battled with Chase and Kyle the whole race. Dominic in the heat race. The track was putting on some awesome racing, and excited to see what comes here in the future here.
Well, you drove the heck out of it. Congratulations. A well-earned victory for Christian Bruno to start 2026 at the Clyde. Well, Kyle Spence. Oh. We'll do the 50-50 here real quick after Christian takes a quick picture. Then we'll talk to Kyle and Chase. We have our winning 50-50 ticket that Christian Bruno will pull in victory lane. The winning ticket is the orange ticket, 390201. The orange ticket, 390201. If that belongs to you, you can come collect your cash prize at the Pit Shack in turn number 4. Thank you for playing the 50-50 tonight. All right, Kyle Spence, 14th to 2nd, and if not for that yellow flag at the end, maybe a win. Take me through your thought process of that battle with Christian, and mainly just how you had to run turns 1 and 2, because that was really the difference for everybody.
Yeah, I didn't need that yellow for the wheel cover. That's for sure. They've been getting me the last few races here when they're on the track, and man, I just had that run towards them, and it's so hard. You're so much momentum around the top to pass somebody, and you really got to wait for the cautions and restarts to really make some ground and be able to use the as he's kind of sliding himself off the corner a little bit, I would kind of jam up because it's so slick I couldn't get underneath him. And yeah, just one of those things, going back and forth, I just couldn't get the job done.
You put on a show, Kyle. Congratulations. 14th to 2nd for Kyle Spence tonight at the Clyde. And putting it on the podium, coming all the way from Maine, and you were putting on a show, especially early in that. You were kind of doing what Kyle was doing late in the race, early in the race, and you were making up so much time through 1 and 2, but man, that had to be sketchy.
Yeah, down on 1 and 2, and the car was very out of control. If I could hit it, I was probably one of the best cars out there, but after Kyle got by me, I was just kind of fending off for 3rd and just trying to hold on for a top 3. But, we drive a long way to come put on a show here, and I'm very thankful to be able to run with these guys and be able to come to this facility.
Yeah, I was going to say, you guys come from a long way, and every time you come here, you're fast. So how much does that, help your confidence as you travel around, as you go to some of these tracks, as you go back home and like, hey, I can roll with these big boys in PA?
Yeah, it helps a lot because, this is probably one of the hardest micro tracks to get around in the country, and it gives you a bunch of confidence going anywhere in the country, knowing you can do good. And we've been fine-tuning on our setup and getting it closer and closer every year, and I think we'll have a good year here at the Clyde.
Chase Rogers, congratulations. Podium finish, 3rd place tonight. Kyle Spence in 2nd, and Christian Bruno, your winner of the Spring Fling. That was just